Hey, Sebastian here. You might know me from the acting and hosting scene, but today I'm going to share something a little different. Something that's both personal and useful. It'll hit home for many in the creative field because it's about the art of surviving and thriving financially while chasing our dreams. I like to call this strategy Survivanomics because it's about cultivating and increasing wealth over time, even if you're a struggling artist trying to survive. Fluctuating gig work and starting from the bottom isn't easy, so a special approach is required. Not only that, but Survivanomics is about a method that moves you from survival to prosperity so you have what you need for the creative projects you want to get off the ground. First, let me tell you what inspired this financial management process designed specifically for creatives and those who can't set dollars aside the way typical financial advisors suggest. There was a point in my life when I had lost literally everything. It started after the 2009 market crash, and I had just managed to break even by selling off 2 businesses and doing a cross-country family move. A few acting, writing, and coaching gigs was all I had left. My last acting check had gone to cover food and rent for my 3 kids, and then a marital separation landed in the middle of it. There were suggestions that my kids could be taken halfway across the country. I was asked to leave and wound up between acting jobs, no money, sleeping on a buddy's couch. I had to find a way to pull it together for my kids. Even so, divorce court and child custody fights were about to take years to settle. Over time, cooler heads prevailed and things did settle down. I got more money in the bank, investments grew. I established a home where I raised 2 of my 3 kids full time and got my youngest every other weekend. I gained ground financially as an artist, building resources for film and media projects. But that was later. When the struggle was at its maximum, I knew I had to come up with a way to build enough wealth to survive in a dire situation. I knew that if I was going to find my way back to my artistic dreams and be a good father, I'd have to have a system that gave me stability without killing long-term goals. The reason most artists, gig workers, single moms, and dads, or just people struggling at the bottom have a hard time with professional financial advice is that these experts constantly talk about setting aside money that isn't there for people who live on the edge. Creative individuals often feel that they must choose between steady paychecks or the bumpy road of uncertain and fluctuating gigs. I've been there, juggling finances while keeping my creative spirit alive. It's a tightrope walk over an ocean of uncertainty. Some people get a gig or a paycheck and then go weeks before the next gig comes, or things are so tight that it seems insane to set aside $50 or $100 a month for saving and investing. You're more likely to need that money for rent or groceries, not to mention a sudden emergency to get one of your kids or cover an unplanned legal fee. Saving extra money sounds like an idea for a wealthier person. Extra money doesn't exist in a lot of these situations. I'd always been good at knowing how to survive on very little when I was a single actor and even doing business startups. I'd also come to understand a great deal about methods that transform a person from one state to another through the discipline involved in my national level bodybuilding training. So, faced with starting from a bottom that didn't have easy solutions, it was suddenly time for me to develop a system that would bring those survival skills into play financially. I had to use those skills to create a method of financial transformation that would allow me to prosper. From couch surfing artist to being a father that provides security to his family and still builds those big dreams, this is the first step in the Survivanomics series that offers a path to building your wealth and your dreams. This is why I created Survivanomics, a 6-series process to build wealth even when you're in the midst of financial flux or reduced income. It's about turning survival into an experience of thriving. Step 1 is what I call mental preparation for wealth building. Let's break down what mental preparation for wealth building means. Imagine you're in a storm. To find your way out, you first need to calm the chaos in your mind. When things are bad or feeling desperate, the worst thing you can do is be guided by thoughts that have no structure or discipline. In that state, thinking is bad and can put you in a spiral of panic. So you have to clear your mind, then structure your thoughts, create your plan and your routine, then take action on the steps you have structured for yourself. This takes your thoughts captive so you control them and you don't think randomly. You act according to your plan, only going back to thinking out strategy when you apply the structure I'm about to give you. So the first task, this step, is about grounding yourself in the present, acknowledging where you are financially without judgment. When things were at their worst and I arrived at my buddy's house to take over his couch, I only had $150 to my name. I knew that my first quest would be gaining control of my state of mind. It would have been easy to fall into a state of depression, despair, or overwhelming panic about everything from the possible loss of my kids to seeing the financial odds completely overwhelm me. I couldn't let that happen. The cost would have been too high. Indeed, there are many people that get backed against a wall like this, and if fear or anxiety gets control, it can make it very hard to keep your head clear enough to plan your way out of it. This is why our first step toward a better financial situation must, as step one, involve mental preparation for the wealth building process. Before you do anything else, you must put a pencil and notepad on the table next to you. Then lay down on the couch for a 20-minute mental prep exercise. This initial process is often used by Navy SEALs in high-tension situations and is called grounding. This will help you center your focus and clear away enough anxiety to give you a clear sense of direction. Now, here's how to clear your mind by individually and gradually focusing only on sensory elements that engage your 5 physical senses, one at a time. Focus, one at a time, on 3 things in the room you are in. Then, close your eyes. Next, identify smells in your space, or just focus on breathing through your nose. Then, gently touch 3 textures around you, like your shirt, your pants, and maybe what you're laying on. Take note of them. Now, the next sense. How does the air taste? Breathe through your mouth to detect any taste, and then, moving on, dial into the small sounds that are present. What do you hear? Try to identify subtleties. Now open your eyes and focus once again on those 3 visual points. Now you're grounded. This process will focus your thinking in the present. Once you feel clear of overthinking, relax your body and prepare for the next part of the process. With this new focus, consider where you are in the following structure. There is a pyramid or hierarchy of needs that apply to everyone. It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This hierarchy has as its most basic first level element breathing, food, water, shelter, and sleep. The second level is safety and security. The third is love, acceptance, and belonging. The fourth is self-esteem, achievement, and community standing. And at the top is the 5th level, self-actualization, including creativity, meaning, and the reaching of your potential. Consider where you are in this pyramid. What do you have in place for those you care about? Do you have shelter, food, clothing, and time and resources to make your next set of plans? Are you and those you care for safe for the night? If you have these things, you have a lot. You have a lot for getting started. If you have a space to sleep and food to eat, and if you have a few dollars for the next meal or bus fare, you'll survive this, and your path to survival, leading to wealth, can be moved to the next step. Now listen, anytime you're feeling your circumstances are dire, come back to these basics and establish or affirm them so you know you're covering the essentials. Once this is in place, you need to move your thinking to your long-term vision. It may help to close your eyes once more and lay back for a moment again. Take time to think about what your ideal life looks like, including the job that you might have in this speculative future. Where do you live? Who is with you? Who do you interact with? And what do you do in this ideal daily routine? From your rising in the morning to the way you move through the day. See the outcome of your desired life in as much detail as possible. What will this vision require? As you rest on that thought, take a moment to write down the sections of your life that you need to cover to get to this big goal. Don't think narrowly here. Think about the major parts of your life as distinct categories. I suggest aiming for 4 major areas. Take your pencil and paper, draw a 4-square grid. Now write down in each square a category heading. I suggest household wellness, money now, long-term projects, and physical health. Begin to fill in the tasks you need to fulfill right away or in the next 3 to 6 months for each of these areas of your life to be covered. When you hit a sticking point, lay down again, close your eyes, and think of anything that you need and find a place for them on your grid. Don't get too caught up in initially categorizing these things if the list is big. Just make a big list and split it into the relevant quadrants once you get it all on paper. Don't limit yourself in this process. You can have get the dishes done and buy a house as 2 goals in your head. Put them on the list. These are both valid goals. You can sort out where they fit on your timeline later. Once you've exhausted this process, reflect back on your long-term vision and see to it that all your shorter-term goals either help or at least don't hinder your long-term goals. So you can either adjust your long-term vision or avoid things that aren't productive for what you're after. When you have it all on paper, the meditation is over, and you should have a sense of direction. What you need to do next is be ready to take on the day by going after the things you can work on most realistically now. Don't worry, there's a way to ensure you don't get overwhelmed by the number of things you've just pulled out of your head and put on your list. Since you don't have to do the grounding exercise and extensive list building every day, what you should do daily is this. Each morning, have a set routine that you memorize without needing to think about it. When the alarm goes off, don't think or reflect. Engage the routine you've pre-established. This might look something like get out of bed, take a shower, brush your teeth, make your bed, clean up your room, and go exercise or take a walk. Once you have the momentum of these mindless but necessary autopilot tasks out of your way, you're ready to think and plan. Grab a coffee and select what I call your 3x3s. First, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe it's that you have a place to sleep, a cup of coffee in your hand, and any other good thing in your life. Next, choose 3 problems that you have that you can't change, or at least you can't change them on your own steam. Just release those to God or the consciousness of the universe, whatever you prefer to call it. This really means you don't have to think about solving what isn't in your power to fix. From people who've gotten under your skin to lost jobs, just hand them over. Let them go. Lastly, select 3 of your goals that you know you will be able to have done by the end of the day. Maybe it's completing this course on wealth building, getting a doctor's appointment done, and going to meet someone about a possible gig. Don't get caught in an overthinking spiral. Keep it simple. Just like I described here with a morning routine and the 3x3 focal points. If you need to broaden your thinking to come up with better ideas and strategies, set aside a moment to go through the deeper thinking process we went through. Build your master list of ideas. You won't have to do that as often, but when you do, you'll give yourself meaningful structure and clarity of thought for how to take action. From time to time, you may even need to think the following out loud. Stop thinking. What are you going to do? Then take action. Now you have a way to structure your thinking, so you're ready to apply the next step in the process. We'll get to that in the next video. In the meantime, this isn't just about me telling you how to build wealth in tough situations, or how that works. It's about how we're going to learn to improve this process as well. If you've got your own techniques for mental preparation, feel free to share. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your strategies. Remember to like, subscribe, and share if you find this helpful. Next time, we'll dive into step 2, auditing expenses and finding extra money. That's about turning every penny into a soldier in your financial army. So remember, fight the darkness, put truth in story. We'll see you next time.